Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksvana Live. Today we're trying out something new. We did ask the audience in the community tab a while back now whether or not you'd like to see some breaking news live streams coming out from us, bringing you, obviously, as you might expect, breaking news about drones. So this is the first one of those, as we've got a fairly meaty subject to discuss. Hi everybody, the early viewers. Good to see you, Lawrence, Novice Quads, Chris Hope, the Hutch Music Video. Hi. 3X Drones, good to see you, sir. And Timeless Truths, who I believe was first. Well, certainly first in the chat, anyway. Yes, Lawrence, that's it. You're on it fast. Yes, well, that's the idea of this new format as well, that we're able to go live very quickly and bring some breaking news ahead of the rest, as it were. Great to see you, Gary, Brant Aerials, Mr. Crowley his drone. Hi, Sean. Really good to see you as well. So yes, I'll get on with it, shall we? I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen recently, there has been a couple of FCC stories about DJI out there today. The first one, which hit the airwaves this morning, was regarding a new controller. Some have associated with the leak photo of the controller. Just to remind you all, it's this one. However, I'm not sure if it's that one or not. There's no confirmation. The photos don't seem to show it particularly clearly. But following up from that, we then had the breaking news of another FCC database listing, which has now become public. Hi, Tommy Carlson. Nice to see you. And it appears to suggest that we have a new drone incoming and potentially a Mavic Air 2, which I have to say I'm surprised about myself. Now, again, this isn't confirmed by DJI, etc., but let's have a look at the FCC listings here. So there's the FCC ID number. I will put a link to this in my description. And as you can see here, the FCC listing clearly marked at the top there, SC DJI Technology Co Limited, Mavic Air 2. And as you look through the listing itself, it obviously gives the usual information like operating frequencies, that type of thing, as well as obviously the available exhibits to confirm it and everything else like that. Novice Quads, I don't want to see nothing from DJI unless it's 6 to 8K or maybe 10K video camera. Well, why not 12K, Lawrence? Huh? You know, this is DJI. We want something special. And then, of course, we have the applicant information, which again confirms it's our Chinese friends. So fairly exciting. And the final one of this particular FCC application to show you is this one here, which is the justification of label location. So rather than it just being Mavic Air 2 written somewhere on a website, that type of thing, we have a little bit more information here. So this is a form that DJI have actually created themselves and signed. So again, titled DJI Technology Company. Justification of label location. So it's the label equipment will not be visible at the time of purchase on the exterior of the equipment enclosure. And as you can see there, it says that the device is handheld, FCC identifier is visible, and at the top there, regarding label location of Mavic Air 2. So, what do we think, people? Do we think that's enough information out there that's some form of official information, at least, to start getting excited about this particular drone? Now we've had the leaked photos that everybody's seen of the Mavic X. I'm not entirely sure whether this could be that drone. It's very, very difficult to tell, and would be frankly pure speculation on this one. Hi Herman in the chat there. Runner Bean 1980, good to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well and enjoying the UK lockdown along with me. Isn't it fun? So what does everybody in the chat think there then? Do you think that gives us enough justification to think that we do have a Mavic Air 2 incoming? Or, you know, do you think these leaked pictures from before are anything to do with this one? Alan Robson, I agree with you. I'm not a fan of this controller. I actually had a a thought process that maybe this controller could be a test bed, that actually it's something they use to control all of their drones, that they're testing and building. But again, that is 100% just, my words, as it were. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Gary Brent aerials. It looks like it. I'm hopeful. I understand that as well. I have to say that this type of thing where DJI have actually signed it off. Excuse my pronunciation, but Fajay Wang of SZ DJI Technology Limited signing it off as the label location of the Mavic Air 2. I'd be surprised if they did all of this work and then called it something else, but there is always the chance that they're having a laugh with us. You never know. There's certainly so much speculation out there regarding what the next DJI drone is going to be. It's interesting to see them actually name it on the FCC registration there. Yeah, so we are hopeful. We are hopeful that this could be the next one. Interestingly, the controller seems to be a completely separate listing. I'm sure many of you have seen that today. Again, it's only a label photo from the bottom of the controller, so we can't tell whether that's a new controller that's coming out specifically for this drone or whether it's a new smart controller, that type of thing. I think it looks like and it feels like we might start to see some real activity coming out of China and DJI. Obviously, we've still seen in the news that the Wuhan has now come out of its initial lockdown. They're still on a lot of restrictions over there, but we're hearing from quite a few projects that the Chinese factories are now starting to open again, and are now starting to spread their production out. So this really could be something that we're going to get getting our hands on. Do we think in the chat that DJI would be looking to market this property during any kind of lockdown, or could this just be bad timing for them? Are we more likely going to see this drone, or whatever its final incarnation is, are we more likely to see this after the lockdown has been lifted across the world? What kind of impact on sales do you think it would have? Would you buy a DJI drone right now and store it ready for flying? Obviously, there are some parts of the world where you are still able to fly a drone, although it's not necessarily recommended for us all to be out there, etc. For me, I have to say, I'd be surprised if they market it during an almost global lockdown. But yes. 3X drones, this thing needs to be priced in the $500 to $700 range max. Probably not a professional grade drone. Anything more will be a fail. Hubs and Zeno are catching up fast, not to mention the economy. Absolutely, I agree with that. This is going to have to be well priced. If you think they're not going to want to go near the Mavic Pro 2 and affect that marketplace, and of course they're going to want a bit of separation from the Mavic Mini as well. The Mavic Air, I have one myself. I enjoy flying it. Obviously the Wi-Fi is the issue, and that's something which is going to be interesting to see whether they can get around that issue or whether or not. Tommy Carlson, no CE version. Normally at this stage, Tommy, I would see the CEE sticker on the label, but they've only put a label identifier statement rather than the actual label on this particular listing, as far as I can see so far. And yeah, Philly Drone Life, Michael, good morning, sir. Good afternoon here. Good morning there. Horrible timing. Is it Wi-Fi? Ooh, good morning, guys. Good morning, Michael. Yes, I have to say, can I see it being Wi-Fi? The Mavic Mini of it is Wi-Fi, enhanced Wi-Fi. It would be interesting, especially if you think the model that it would be replacing, the Mavic Air 1, has essentially the biggest flaw is its signal. In my opinion, I really enjoy flying mine. I replaced the original controller to phone cable with an upgrade, and that seemed to work quite well. And it has increased its reliability connection wise. However, it still isn't OcuSync. And as 3X Drones just said, they need to squeeze OcuSync in that thing. I would agree with that. How do we think a 4K Mavic Air 2 with a decent flight time and OcuSync would hurt the Mavic Pro 2 sales, though? I think they're going to have some clear differential. Perhaps it'll be flight time. Perhaps it won't have the flight time of the Mavic Pro. But I have to agree that I would be disappointed. I wouldn't be shocked because who knows? It's DJI's own product. Who knows what they're going to do with it? But I would be shocked if there wasn't OcuSync in there. But again, that's pure speculation. We've got no idea. I'll just run through these tiles again for anybody who is a latecomer. There's the FCC ID number. As you see at the top there, it's labelled the DJI Technology Company Limited Mavic Air 2. Original equipment, etc. Digital transmission system. And again, application is actually called the Mavic Air 2. Here's the frequencies. And the exhibits. And the application information confirmation. And then we have here, which again, as I said before, is the justification of label location statement signed by DJI Technology, which at the top there does states regarding label location of Mavic Air 2, and then the FCC number. So it is possibly, as I say, this. I certainly felt compelled enough to jump on and try out our new live stream system here, where I'm going to be able to bring you breaking news stories very, very quickly. Whether it's anything to do with this drone that we've seen previously, I'm not sure. I have a feeling, I don't know how you guys in the chat feel, but I have a feeling there's going to be quite a lot of drones and products, full stop, coming out from DJI within the next 12 to 18 months. Certainly anything they would have been launching at the moment has possibly been put on hold. Novice Quads Lawrence, they're going to keep the Mavic Air 2 on Wi-Fi, and that will be the difference between the toy grade and professional grade drones. If it's Wi-Fi, it's a toy. If it's OcuSync, it's a prosumer camera. Yeah, I mean, I understand from various people, not within DJI, but dealers and that type of thing, that the Mavic Air wasn't as big a seller as they're expecting. And you have to point to the Wi-Fi being one of those issues with it, basically, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, but I can't see them putting OcuSync, but I can see them putting OcuSync. It's a real double-edged sword. I see the reasons for it and the reasons for not doing it, but I do think the Mavic Pro 2 is so popular, is such a strong drone. I can't see them launching a new product to threaten that in any way, shape or form, unless they've identified a very big market in the just sub $1,000 $900 range where people want an OcuSync drone and won't pay any more. I mean, that's possible. 3X drones, OcuSync and 4K 60 need to be standard these days. Anything less is now pretty much a toy. Exactly as Lawrence was saying before there, OcuSync is becoming, certainly in the DJI drone, is becoming the differentiator between toy and prosumer, and they do seem to be drawing a line. So perhaps this will be, a Mavic Mini Pro larger version with more of the toys, and obviously using the main app, perhaps. Paul H, now is the time to champion non-Chinese products, and certainly an opportunity for European, American manufacturers to step up and give us a viable alternative to DJI. I also have a problem saying DJI. I normally say G for some reason. But yeah, I agree with you, Paul. It would be great, and it's one of the biggest things that I think a lot of us want to see is someone from Europe, someone from America, break that mold. I have to say, I was talking on Those Guys live stream last night with Phantom Flight 101 and Novice Quads, and what I did notice is that what I said there rather was that we need something to change from the point of view that everyone seems to copy each other, and I know it's difficult because a drone is a lump of plastic with some arms coming out of it these days. But we need some innovation. We need someone to come out with something which will be very, very different. And I think that's where someone's going to take them on, take on the Chinese manufacturers. And of course, even if you have an American or a European product, it's probably going to be vastly produced or mainly produced in China and then assembled elsewhere. Darren Eleanor, hi, nice to see you, sir. Hope you're well. Paul Murray, good morning, sir. Nice to see you. Enjoying your ship videos recently, as usual. I'm rather addicted to his ship videos. So, do we have a mod in the chat? Because I was going to ask Andy if you're still there. Actually, I'm going to make one of those guys a moderator. Lawrence and Herman, you are now moderators. Would you mind just putting a link in your channels so people can find your live streams on a Sunday and Wednesday night? That'd be fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so again, for those who are just joining us, I'm going to run through these stickers very, very quickly. We have discovered, or there has been discovered this morning, the FCC filings for a new product from our wonderful friends over in China, DJI. And it appears to be a Mavic Air 2, as you can see here. Running through the list here, you have the operating frequencies, all the things you'd expect to see with an FCC grant, the available exhibits, the application information, applicant information, and the one that I quite like because it's something signed from DJI themselves is the justification of label location, which does mark it as the Mavic Air 2. Now, whether or not it's this drone, I'm not sure. I mean, it has folding arms. It isn't. There is obviously the other photo, which I haven't got on here, of it being held in someone's hand. It does look fairly chunky, but not Mavic Pro 2 size. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure about this controller, in my opinion. But I really do feel like that could be a test bed. But we'll have to wait and see on that one there. Jay Santiago, good morning, sir. Good to see you. Paul H, saying hello to all. Hello, sir. El Smeghead, Andy, you're right. We need a game changer, like when we went from Phantom to Mavic. Yes, and it would be nice to see somebody else coming out with that. But it's a little bit like at the moment, I think part of the issue is that you've got all these smaller manufacturers. If you take it over into the automotive market, it would be like Ford being one of the absolute far and away car makers, and there being no one close to them, to try and then suddenly release a car that's going to go against the Mondeo or the Focus, or I'm not sure what the model names are in the States, or the Falcon down in Australia. For a smaller manufacturer to have the research and development funding, the manufacturing capability, etc., to be able to do that is going to be difficult for them, in my opinion. And I think that's where we start to have issues. You have all of these crazy crowdfunding drones which don't seem to go anywhere, the Hover 2, the Micro Drone 4. Then you have things which look exciting, like the V-Copter, which I know is still Chinese, but again doesn't seem to be going anywhere right now. As Lawrence said, the drone game is David and Goliath, and DJI is Goliath. Paul H, will it fall between two stools? Not as good as a Mavic 2, but slightly better than a Mavic Mini. Price point will be interesting. I completely agree with you, Paul. It's going to be fascinating to see the spec and the price and its connection, I think, are the really the pivotal areas. I think we're all going to expect it to be full 4K. Who knows? Rather than the 2.7 of the Mavic Mini. But again, it's all rumor at the moment on that side of things. Brian Forward, hello, sir. Good to see you. Now, with this thing being so close, the CAD will it have the CE mark? Yes. Normally what you find on a lot of these FCC registrations is an actual photo of the label, which at the time of me going to press, I didn't see that available. And normally you'll see FCC and CE marked on there, but the publication routes are slightly different. So you tend to get a heads up on the FCC listing first of all. I'm hoping, sorry, I did mean to check, I'm hoping my audio levels and everything else are okay for everybody there. Hi to Chris Hope in the chat. Good to see you, sir. Still enjoying your sunrise flights. Herman, $799. Yeah, I mean, that would possibly justify not having OcuSync, wouldn't it? That would be very interesting. Graham, will it come in the category the A2 CFC? Well, that's going to be interesting because, of course, as many of you may or may not know, here in the UK and in Europe, we're about to enter into a new regulation zone. So thank you very much for bringing that up, Graham. And one of those, one of the changes is going to be our airspace, which is going to be marked A1, A2, A3. The one that we're all going to want to fly in is the A2, which is where we can get a little bit closer to things. If we have a C2 class drone and hold the A2 CFC qualification. So essentially, in the UK and Europe, they're bringing out some new regulations which will allow us to fly closer to people, because there's going to be essentially a low speed or tripod mode on the controller, and then we're going to get to within what I believe is 5 meters. I'm actually starting to take my A2 CFC course next week, and I'm going to be doing a diary for the channel, so keep an eye out for that one. As far as whether this drone will have that, I'm not sure. It's as of July 1st, it's expected, although it isn't actually law for drones that are being sold until 2022. It will be interesting if anybody does release drones without that marking in Europe and the UK, because of course it would only give that drone a 2-year shelf life, which is, you know, a decent amount of time, but it'll be interesting. Yes, exactly as Andy says there, I still believe it's worth waiting to buy a new drone in the UK, Europe, until they start manufacturing them with the EASA C classifications on them. It'll be very interesting when they do that, and indeed when we get more information out on that. Chris Hope, yeah, I noticed that as well, actually. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. When you click on the 3 little tabs in someone on the chat, it no longer says visit this person's channel. I wonder if that's something to do with YouTube downgrading things whilst they cope with what's going on at the moment. You might find that there was an issue with it and they decided to kill it off. We shall see. Okay, one more run through for the people that are interested here. Drone shots. Hello, sir. So here's the FCC listing, as I say, denoting Mavic Air 2 from DJI Technology. I will put a link to this in the description after the stream. And then the one that gets me more excited that something might actually be happening, the justification of label location, a signed piece of paper, or a copy of a signed piece of paper from DJI confirming label location of Mavic Air 2. That would be very, very exciting. I think whether or not you're a DJI fan, whether or not that it's something you're particularly interested in with them, I think it's interesting from the point of view that any new drone release, which will potentially be a little bit more serious than the Mavic Mini, is exciting for the marketplace. And it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens there, for sure. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. This, as I say, this is our new format from the point of view of anything comes up which I feel like has enough justification to bring to you very quickly. We can bring these very quick live streams, which hopefully I'll get a little bit better at as time goes on. But I want to thank everybody in the chat: Drone Shots, Phantom Flight 101, Herman, Andy, Chris Hope, Graham, Paul H, Novice Quads, Jay, Santiago, Paul Murray, everybody out there. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time on Geeksvana Live.
All you want is my hunger. All you need is my pain. Nothing in between ever met you lost. When you were born there was thunder, fire lit in the sky as to lead astray. Now heavy rain pours out of you and me.
The story has been told. Until next week, of course. Anyway, if you don't mind picking up your popcorn box, sir, I'd really appreciate you putting it in the bin. Yes, and your crisp packet, madam. I clean up after these boys. I don't need to clean up after you guys too.